Virtual escape rooms are a lot of fun to play and a lot of fun to make with tools like Storyline, so it's no wonder that for a lot of e-learning designers, it's become one of the most common ways to gamify their training. But the truth is, they don't always help learners achieve learning objectives, and sometimes they can even get in the way. But we love escape rooms, and learners love them too, so we want to leverage that engagement and put it to work in achieving real-world results. So in this video, I'm going to take a deep dive into that genre, give you the best escape room practices, and show you the pitfalls you must avoid so that your escape room is not only fun, but actually becomes a relevant learning experience. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Mary Jo, and combining games and e-learning is all I've been doing for over 10 years now. I have a program that takes you from making traditional e-learning that's boring to take and boring to make, to making gamified training that's engaging and effective and never gimmicky. So if you want to work directly with me and figure out how to do that, get in touch with the link in the description. Now let's dive into escape rooms. Let's start with some basic terminology. A typical escape room gives you an ultimate goal to achieve. Sometimes it's escape a room, but sometimes not. And before you can do that, you've got to overcome some intermediate goals. In this example by Jody Sansone, the ultimate goal is you have to open a safe. And the intermediate goals are to find each and every digit of the safe combination. Each digit is scattered around the rooms of this apartment. So we usually have some kind of Russian doll structure organized as a series of locks nested within each other. Opening all the locks at the basic level gives you access to the next level of locks. And when you unlock those, you get to the next tier in the hierarchy and so on until you open the final one. This very structure is one of the reasons why escape rooms are fun. See, there's often several tasks available simultaneously, so you're giving the learner some autonomy in choosing which task they want to do next. At the same time, this structure does force the learner to tackle each level in a set order, so inherently there's a good balance between autonomy and guidance, and that balance is an important ingredient of engagement. Now, as you probably know, in an escape room, you'll basically do two things. First, to open a lock, you need one or several keys, which can be a physical object or a piece of information. And to find these keys, you traditionally have to search a virtual space for that object or piece of information. So we've got these searching activities, and once you've got the keys, either the lock will open automatically, or you may have to complete a mini game to open the lock, so you've got unlock activities. For example, in this escape room by Brittany Vernier, I've got 3 keys or pieces of information to find here in this room. Once I have them, I use the pieces of information to complete the password. 13 is M, 22 is V, 5 is E, and so on. This is a fun little mini game, which is another ingredient of engagement in escape rooms. Great. So that's how escape rooms engage players, but there are also some pitfalls that come out of those same ingredients. I've said it before, if you want training to be effective and engaging, you have to give the learner activities that are challenging enough and relevant to the real-world learning objective. So if learners are spending most of their time and effort searching in your course, well then that's the main thing that your course is teaching, because that's what they're practicing. Now, I'm not knocking these escape rooms that I've just shown you. These exist just for fun, and I had a lot of fun playing them, so they've done their job. But if your escape room has a learning objective that's not the learner will know how to search a room, then there's probably going to be a mismatch between your searching activities and your learning objective. So that's problem number 1 with the search activities. Problem number 2 is, if all they have to do is blindly click around the room, then that doesn't really require any cognitive engagement, and it's probably not challenging enough to be an interesting activity. As for the unlock activities, the same thing applies. Once you've found all the information and you want to open a lock, the mini game there can take all sorts of formats, like this jigsaw puzzle, for example, which isn't really making the learner practice the skill you're teaching. And if you remember the gimmick test, which I'll link below, whenever you have the learner invest a lot of time or cognitive effort into an activity that doesn't help them reach the learning objective, you're in gimmick territory. So how do we leverage the power of escape rooms for good without falling into the gimmick zone? Well, first, if you have searching activities, make sure they don't require a huge amount of time and effort. That way, even if they're not relevant, at least they don't have a heavy cost for the learner, and so we're keeping them in the fine zone where they won't hurt too much. So in this example, I've got to find all the post-it notes, but it's really quick and easy. That's not where most of my effort will go. You can also make the searching easier by giving the learner hints about where to look. In this example, anything that's searchable will light up when I mouse over it. Again, we're reducing the irrelevant workload. Now, when it comes to your mini games or the unlock activities, that's where the potential gold really is, because you can make these activities anything you want. So they're a great opportunity for you to make the learner perform a relevant task here. In this example, once you've found all the necessary information, a customer will come in and you now can serve them correctly with the information you've found. Or if you want to go beyond a simple knowledge check, you could get the learner to find all the steps in a procedure, then put them in order, and that forces them to actually think about what would make sense, and then they have to perform a simulation of the procedure, and that's your mini game. If you insist on giving the learner a mini game that's not relevant and it's just there for engagement, then it's probably a good idea to either keep it easy, or if it's a high effort and irrelevant, make it skippable. Another common feature of escape rooms is that they usually have some sort of narrative justification. This is a simple story to explain why you're even in this room having to find all these keys. But we want to get the learner active immediately, so when you're explaining this ultimate goal, it's important to keep it short and simple, like in this example. Here, the reason why you have to open the safe is because your passport's in it and you have to catch a plane. That's instantly understandable, and away we go. No big convoluted story with 14 characters. I know that sounds obvious, but a lot of escape rooms get this wrong. I don't want to provide any negative examples here, but they're everywhere. The next tip is avoid moon logic. Moon logic is when the solution to a puzzle makes no sense except to the person who designed it. For example, say you need to get a key from this grumpy receptionist, and every time you ask her, she brushes you off. You try different things like giving her flowers, a donut, money, nothing works. And the solution is actually that you have to give her a fish. Because when you do, she says, "Oh my God, thank you, I collect fish and I was missing that one. Here's the key." Like, there's no logical way the learner could have known this before the fact, so the only way to figure it out is to brute force try everything. And that can feel unfair and frustrating, and even if you do figure it out, you don't feel clever. So make sure your puzzles are figure-outable in a way that requires learners to apply a little bit of logic. That's way more engaging, and it maintains trust with the learner. Trust that, don't worry, things make sense in here, and you don't have to try stupid, arbitrary things because we just don't do stupid in here. In my experience, escape rooms are attractive to people and learners want to try them, but like any other mechanic, if you want to keep them from becoming a tired, overused gimmick, you have to make sure you respect the user's time and attention. And you do that by providing relevant tasks to play and avoiding anything that makes them feel like they're wasting their time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.